Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cultras podcast with myself, James Allen, the Cultras podcast, I should say, with
Yeah,
Theo
same thing.
and special guest returning not once, not twice, but thrice. It's the
Hat trick.
wonderful Luka Lagvilava, everybody! Woo!
Hey.
Hey,
The hat trick ball,
yeah,
the first one.
yeah.
We had
Good
you on.
evening, as Onaimri says. Yeah, go on.
Oh no, I was gonna say, we had you on in July. We were talking about Georgia's prospects. Then we had you on, I think, just before Christmas, chatting
Yeah,
about the prospects of the playoff. In
And
the
now,
time
look
that's
where we are.
passed,
Where we are now.
Georgia have broken ground and have qualified for Euro 2024. What's the feeling like, Luke? When after that shootout? What just take us through it.
oh well. First thing before we go after the shootout, every single person around me was saying like, please, no penalty shootouts because we're probably gonna die in the stadium. No one's gonna live through it. But I'd say it sort of looks as though it should have been a shootout. It should have been like a nerve-wracking last 10 to 15 minutes in the shootout and stuff. And yeah, honestly, it took me personally about like an hour and 15 minutes to get outside the stadium because it was packed. No one was leaving. Clock. It took me at least an hour and 15 minutes to get outside the stadium. And people who I think you can see in the background as well. This is probably just 10 seconds after we scored the winning penalty, and at least like 5, 6, 7,000 people rushed onto the pitch. Basically, honestly, they took the turf back home. Some people just cut the nets and took it back home as a memorabilia. So I
Wow.
wish I did it as well, but I was in like the higher seats, so I couldn't really jump 60 meters towards the ground. But yeah, it was
Risky.
amazing, honestly, and then it was the whole city, the country was buzzing, partying. I don't know, drinking obviously a lot, and yeah, I mean, in the day after, the funny thing was I was also talking about this with my friends. Like the whole week was rainy, windy, cloudy. The next morning, sun, 20 degrees outside, warm, everything was perfect. So it was meant to be that way, to say the least. And fortunately for us, we managed to go through and qualify in the most sort of nerve-wracking fashion ever, probably ever for us at least. So yeah.
As I wonder quite like I wonder what percentage of people actually went to work the next morning. That's always that. Yeah, just
I
magically
don't know.
ill.
I don't know. Yeah, not magically. I mean, I'm not sure if all the sort of works and offices were working since 9 or 10 a.m. because probably all the people, policemen, I don't know, people at the hospitals and stuff were watching the game. So obviously, it was not that easy to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning to go to work and dress up and go to work. So I mean, I went back home at like 7:25, 7:30, something like that. Rewatched the game, rewatched the penalty taken like 3, 4 times. Watched all the videos on my feed everywhere possible, and went to sleep again at 9 o'clock. Woke up like 3 hours later. I was like, oh, it was not a dream; it's reality.
Well,
And yeah, we're here waiting for our first appearance at the Euros, which will kick off in about 45 days, 44 days. So yeah, buzzing, buzzing.
that's let's have it.
You certainly have qualified. Now the group you've been drawn into. How do you? I mean, I'm going to say how do you fancy your chances? But obviously, qualifying for the tournament is such a major step by itself. But how
Yeah,
do you fancy your chances in the group?
I think there's always a chance. Let me put it this way, and we've been lucky enough to not be in one of the sort of worst groups of the tournament, like groups of death. I mean, obviously Portugal, who are an amazing country. I mean, a lot won the Euros before Italy won it, so they're going to be tough. But again, Turkey, Czech Republic teams that have been in the tournaments have turned up in the tournament as well. Well, again, in tournaments like this, everyone's there to compete. Everyone wants to win. It's not only about like, oh, we're here just to be here. Obviously, no one's there for just the numbers. Obviously, everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to compete. And in an odd game, in like sort of 11v11, everyone has a chance to secure some points. And I generally believe that like, if we manage to play the way we played against Greece per se, against a team that was, let's say, superior to us on paper, at least as a group, as a group of individuals, and considering their overall quality. If we manage to play the same way as we played against Greece, there will be chances for us to, nick a few goals, get a few points, and as we all know, even if you finish third, you still got a chance to qualify to advance to the knockout stages. So there will be chances, I'd say. And we are starting with Turkey. Yeah, the first game is against Turkey, so obviously a team that is everyone's dark horse contender, in the tournament. But again, you have to know that like in an odd game, everyone can get a result against anyone. So I think we are capable of achieving something in this group, but you just have to take it one by one, play every single game as if it is your final game in the tournament, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we manage to get some positive results to say the least. But again, getting there was a mission, and we gladly take just being a team that will show their face and that will just play a competitive game to say the least. And the result is probably not as important for us right now as it is just to play those matches, and we'll see.
I think well, knocking out Greece, obviously, 20 years on.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that means I think that means tournament winners. But it's pretty. What else is left to do? Yeah, because what was it? Was it because Turkey last tournament they were in? I think 2022
2020,
Euros, 2020
yeah.
Yeah,
Euros even.
2021, yeah.
Yeah, and we were supposed to be dark horses then and got battered every game. So, I don't. I'm not on board with the Turkish dark horse theory. It's Georgia is the dark horse that nobody's counting on. So I was gonna ask you that as well. So like, obviously there's 26-man squad this the time, and who's your
Yeah,
there's obviously
yeah.
there's obviously a few like definites, like Mamadashvili and Kavichin and maybe Shakra Tazza. He's been playing for Watford. But yeah, who's your
Yeah.
who's your definites take and who wouldn't you take? And I've left Kavilitai, who you don't like, open for deselection there. But other than that,
Quinta has actually been alright. If we speak about him, he's actually been alright in those sort of 20 minutes he was given. But again, you know what the case is? He was the only centre forward. Well, next to Mikael, he was the only centre forward that could have taken a penalty, and he didn't step up. So, if you ask me, if you've got confidence enough to play for your country, you should always step up to take the penalty, and he didn't, which I was sort of disappointed, I'd say. But again, it doesn't really matter who did or who not. We are there now, but I'd say the team we had called up for the playoffs against Luxembourg and Greece, those 23 men are probably locked in for the tournament, and those additional three probably gonna be someone who we had previously. I'd say like Azarovi, who plays for Shakhtar Donetsk in the Ukrainian Premier League. He was surprisingly not called up, although he played the games before. He played against Spain away from home, and he was, let's say, solid all around. It wasn't crazy at all, but he was solid all around in all those games he played for Georgia. So yeah, I'd say he should be called up. There's one player who was destined for great things. Is now managed by Steve Keane, a guy notoriously being the worst coach in Premier League history. Georgi Arabidze. I mean, so hopefully he's gonna make the squad as well because he has got individual quality on the ball to play those sort of 10, 15 minutes off the bench and maybe just have a good cross in or good set piece delivery, long shots and stuff like that. So I'd say those two players who I think will should get into the squad, and the rest honestly there's like still a month and a half before that, and depends who's healthy enough. Someone might get injured because the season is still going in probably in every league our players are playing at. So it's still a bit too early to talk about the whole sort of 26-man squad. But yeah, I'd say those two are players who I see personally who will play some part in our group stage campaign. And again, we'll see in the next month or so who'll make the squad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as well. Like there's obviously there's with the group that's Georgia have got, Czech Republic, Turkey, and who's it? Czech Republic, Turkey, and remind me. Portugal. There we go. Yeah, obviously, I think it should probably be like quite defensive football of we'll be waiting to see. But I think especially against Czech, like if you were to, obviously it's bold to make predictions a month away, but like we'll go through each team. So like, how do you think the Turkey game goes? The first game, bit of nerves, bit of
Yeah. Obviously, tournament experience comes into place here when we've seen. Well, also Turkey haven't really had a good spell recently, but they're the team that made the semi-finals like in 2008, so they know how to manage those sort of games. They've definitely got the quality. Stunning generation coming in for Turkey, playing for. I mean, Adegler, who's playing for Madrid right now, and all sorts of guys playing for like Ildiz play for Juventus and such. But so I'd say. If we manage to secure a draw in there, that'd be nice. There's obviously going to be some sort of shaky moments because again, you have to face a team that's, in my eyes, is superior to us. But that doesn't really mean nothing because we've seen in these sort of big tournaments that teams who aren't really deemed as favourites have managed to pull through. Like Iceland per se, who've probably surprised everyone in 2016 when they advanced from the group, as well as beating England in the quarterfinals, I think it was. It was in the round of 16 when they beat England. Then they got beaten by France. So again, with a bit of luck, determination, discipline, which is more important in here, and lack of sort of defensive awareness, I think we should be able to manage something out of Turkey. And I think the game against Czech Republic will be the most interesting for us because I personally view them as a team that are sort of similar level to Greece. Also players like Souček, who plays for West Ham, and Sufal as well. They've got a fair few very good players, but you can see that it's not a really like well balanced team all around. So I think if there's a team we can manage a victory, it could be Czech Republic. But again, this is a very bold statement because they are a team with a large experience in this sort of tournaments, and we just here for the first time. So it will definitely be difficult. And mentally as well, like it's always difficult to play against a team in this sort of stage because you've never been there and you always think they're like nervous, don't know how to act, even if you go down. So I think it will definitely be difficult. And well, Portugal are definitely like clear-cut favourites in the group, and it's hard to predict something positive against them. But again, as I mentioned before, it's a game of football. One day you can turn up, and get a positive result against anyone. So hopefully that will be the case for us. And as I said, like even the third best ranked team has a chance to advance to the knockout. So with the group we're in, I think we should be. I don't think it would be a major surprise for us to advance to the knockouts. And again, it won't be a surprise for us to stay in the group and be the third or fourth ranked team in the group. But again, I guess it's pretty doable in my eyes. But obviously, it depends on many factors and luck, most importantly. You gotta be lucky in this sort of tournament. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the expansion, a lot of criticism about the expansion of the tournament
Yeah.
when it went to 24 teams. But I think you're obviously more inclined, obviously being in UEFA, to face those teams more often for qualification. But there is always, since the expansion Euro 2016, like say, you had Iceland, you've had Wales, Northern Ireland got out of that group.
Yeah. Albania were also in the tournament for the first time at the time. So
Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah,
there's definitely plenty of room for stories to be made. Will you be witnessing it live? Have you got your tickets booked for Germany?
yeah. I've been fortunate enough to get all 3 tickets for the group
yeah.
stages for the group stage matches. So also booked a flight like a week ago. So yeah, I'm prepped up. We're just waiting for June to come. In a sort of Pablo Escobar sort of meme when he's sitting in like a swing chair, just waiting for time to pass by. So yeah. So yeah. It's a special occasion for me personally as well, but again for the whole country because a lot of people, a lot of people, also people living in Germany, like Georgian diaspora, is willing to get to those games, and there will be a good representation of Georgian supporters. I'd say tens of thousands of them on every single match day, so it should be a good atmosphere as well for us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was, so I just think any. There's there's Georgia must be the only first time qualifiers this time because obviously Albania got it in
Yeah.
2016. So like,
Well, you could say
if
Serbia as well. If
oh
that's all makes sense because I mean, they've been in tournaments, but not as just Serbia.
that's
They've
just
been with
Serbia.
Yugoslavia and
Yeah,
with
yeah, that
Macedonia as
makes
well.
yeah. Oh yeah, because obviously you could say the same thing. Yeah. Oh, that
Yeah,
makes sense. But uh, like if we're dreaming now, but
yeah,
let the dream take over. If so, with the pathway obviously that comes out of the groups and stuff, we get to the round of 16.
yeah.
Let's have a look in the. I can't find the other group anyway. But who's the most likely sort of teams after the group that be playing? It finished first, second. Because I don't know. I don't quite know how it works. If you finish third, do you go into like a? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, so I have the bracket right now on, and it's pretty much unclear because it's either the winner from Group B, Group D. No,
Mm.
not Group D. Group B or Group C. So yeah, those 2 teams. So if we look at the Group B, it is Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania.
Ooh, ooh. That's
It's difficult to predict. It's a tough group. It's a tough group. And Group C is Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, and England.
mm,
So it's probably going to be England. I mean, they should manage this group pretty well, but you never
mm,
know. Obviously, you never know. But yeah, I mean, it's either England or anyone from Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania. And it's going to be a fun group looking at it now. Like all 4 teams are pretty decent to watch, I guess. So Group B should be an entertaining group for neutral supporters to have a look at.
what state? Where's the Georgian base in Germany? For the tournament, is it?
So well, we've got 3 matches: one in Hamburg, one in Dortmund, and in Gelsenkirchen at Schalke's stadium. So well, Dortmund and Gelsenkirchen are pretty much sort of close together because they're on the same sort of riverbank. But Hamburg is a bit northern, so it's a bit far away. But again, still manageable in like about 2 hours of travel via train. So that's all right, I guess. 2.5 hours. So that's all right, I guess.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I'm actually really looking forward to like to see the stadiums as well because Dortmund Stadium is probably one of the most sort of iconic grounds in recent European football, with the fans and like the yellow wall and stuff like that. So it definitely be interesting to see how it is. And then we have the opening game against Turkey at the Westfalen Stadium, which is Dortmund's home ground. So yeah, it'll be a good experience. Let me put it this way:
Yeah.
it'll be a good experience.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I didn't know it was at Dortmund Stadium. So, yeah, there's obviously there's three quite big good stadiums as well. Hamburg's, Schalke's, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dortmund. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
It's the one thing I'm looking forward to about going is just seeing. I mean, I've never been to an international tournament before, but just seeing every country being represented, and also I feel like it's a bit more lax in terms of fan integration in the stands. It probably is. There probably is a level of disparity. Obviously, they do have their sections, but I always remember watching like the World Cup on TV, and there would be sort of like Brazilian fans mixing with like Cameroon fans and stuff. So I'm hoping that the general vibe is just going to be going to be great originally. So yeah, like I said about fan culture, what was the reaction like in Georgia? I imagine was a national holiday called the next day after the qualification?
Not really, but I think it should have been because we've had one sort of major victory on the 26th of March already, which was beating Croatia back in 2011. And yeah, again now this year against Greece, but honestly, it didn't really matter because you could just sense that people were as happy as ever. Everyone celebrating even the day after and a week after as well. So a lot of babies being born in sort of 8 months, somewhere near December, late November, early December. So yeah, it was definitely a night to remember. And as I said before, it's hopefully will be a beginning of something really special for us.
Yeah, a lot of features being born in 9 months' time.
Yeah. A lot of features, a lot of boodoos, a lot of kids.
Quick for Scary Junior. The
Yeah.
there was I was going to say before, obviously, you know what you were saying about beat any team on the day, and then well, it's like I remember staunchly advocating Georgia were going to beat Spain and lost 7-1. Yeah, there's not to dampen the mood, but obviously if go down at like because you see a lot of like teams that set up to defend maybe against Portugal or something. If you go down early, it can go very wrong. What would be your way to play? What would be your idea of playing against Portugal? Obviously, because you got Ronaldo and all the other idiots.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we all know that we haven't got the quality to just play like an all-out attack system against those sort of teams that are superior in terms of quality and depth. So, sort of similar to Greece, I'd say defensive and waiting for those chances on a counter attack. And so, speaking of Spain, we've actually beaten Spain once back in 2016, although it was a friendly. We managed to beat them once in a similar fashion. Just park the bus and just wait for one chance at the top, and well, we scored and won it. And that was actually before they went to the Euros. The last game they had that year before the Euros was when they faced us. So it did really dampen their spirits, I'd say. But well, they got knocked out against Italy in the quarterfinals. So yeah, that didn't really help. But yeah, as I said before, like we tend to play sort of defensive counter-attacking football, and I'm not really seeing a possibility of that changing against any of those teams. Turkey, Czech Republic, Portugal. So I reckon we're going to follow the sort of same formula of how we play and see how it ends, or what it gives us.
Samuel likes to play about 7 at the back anyway, doesn't he? So
Yeah. Sure.
So it's so it might be a bit difficult to like because like was it against Luxembourg was 5 at the back as well, wasn't it? It was like
Any sort of team we play. And the case is, he speaking of, like, you also mentioned, like, we lost 7-1 against Spain, and that was the only game he actually tried to implement a different system. and he went 4-3-3 with like the most sort of technical lineup. And they poured goals in. Like we were down, I think 4-0 at halftime, 3-0, 4-0 at halftime. And after the interview, after the match, he said like, I tried. I tried. I wanted to see where I'm at because matches before we were all right. I mean, in the Nations League as well, playing this sort of 5-3-2, 5-2-2-1 formation, we were all right. But he tried to change the system against the big guys of European football, and it's not a surprise that he failed because again, you have to look at what sort of team you have and what sort of depth and quality you possess, which isn't enough against teams like say Spain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that he tried it against Spain and then never again.
Yeah.
That's it. That's Football Manager, that, and it's staying positive when you're 6-0 down. Demand more.
Yeah.
Was he a left back, Willie Sagnol?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
He was a right back, wasn't he? Yeah.
Right,
Okay. At Bayern, yeah, he was a right back at Bayern. Played in the World Cup final as well against Italy in 2006. I think he scored the penalty as well. I'm not sure, but I think he scored the penalty in the shootout. But no.
Was he not? Was it? Oh no, he wasn't in the 98. So that was Lizarazu, wasn't it?
Lizarazu.
Yeah, I think right back was Thuram for France, and left back was Lizarazu. I think I'm not sure, but I think that was the way they played. I think I'm not sure.
He's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu, Lizarazu.
Yeah.
So there you go. Just
he's also called Vicente with a Z X.
Yeah. What a man. Maybe I mean I don't know what he's doing now, but you know he wants to take over the Georgia role after signing up.
just French right backs forever.
Yeah. I mean, Stan was linked with Ireland, funnily enough, which that some guy mentioned him on like a podcast, and then the rumor starts that Republic of Ireland are actually looking to acquire Willie Sagnol, and because he also made like a statement of like, regardless of whether Georgia make it to the Euros, I will be leaving the team after the summer. And then like after the game against Greece, he said like, I'm not leaving.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I don't know how it works, but yeah, we'll see. We'll probably see. And also, like, there are plenty of people who will leave the team after the tournament because we're sort of veterans, and like sort of like the senior players of the team will probably like 3 or 4 guys might be their last sort of 2 or 3 matches for the national team, and coming into the games in September for the Nations League, we're probably going to have a new team, so to speak, filled with a few new faces. Hopefully, Sazonov is one of them. Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, it's like what's it? Like Jordan Belfort there. I'm not leaving. The Wolf of Frostaville. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, just a phenomenal achievement. Yeah, we've been doing these previews for teams of smaller nations, and the universal feeling that me and Theon have is that
well, as fans of as citizens of small, and like obviously, last time Ireland won a World Cup, Georgia have more chance of getting to the next World Cup than Ireland do, and New Zealand, obviously, other than the playing like Tonga every other week, don't get much chance. So it's like it's a kinship, and obviously my honorary passport is awaiting the overthrow of the current government. The overthrow of the current government, and fuck them.
I think if Georgia win, Theon, if Georgia win the tournament, Kaladze should present you with a passport.
I have got. I do have a tenner. I do have a tenner on it at 1,000 to 1. So,
What's the stakes? 1 to 10,000 or something.
So I put a tenner each way, so 20 quid actually. Good investment. So if it might be a 5 each way. But yeah, I think it's £5 each way. But a tenner, yeah. So if Georgia win, £7.5. Final, £2.5. Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. Worth it. Worth it.
I'll be flying to what, fucking Berlin to come. Although I thought about that, right? I thought about what happens if we make the final, and then do I go, and then worry that I jinx it, or it's like because I've banned myself from ever going back to Wembley with Borough because the one time I went we got battered. And I banned myself from the playoffs totally after last year when we got beat by Coventry and allowed the crime of Luton in the Premier League to happen. So I banned myself from all the playoffs in future. But I've never jinxed the national team. So there's always room.
Yeah, man. So that means we'll make the finals, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so I'm a book a hotel then. I'm a book a hotel.
No,
Get it
To be
no,
honest,
no
16th
pressure.
of July, isn't it? Yeah.
Probably so.
Oh, this has been an absolute delight. I love doing these. These are fantastic. I mean, yeah, just an absolute. I mean, you must still be ecstatic.
Yeah,
Now.
sure. I mean, the last few weeks with the tensions we've got in the city, obviously, uh, the sort of morale went down a bit, which is sad to see because again, I've mentioned this before in previous podcasts. It's like whenever like a smaller nation manages something for the first time, it just unites people. It just makes everyone happy, fills with joy. And well, now today, the last few days especially, it's been rather tense, and it's hard to see because for a, a very long time we never had this sort of feeling of unity. I'd say sort of communal joy and stuff like that, and it's taken away. It's been taken away from us after a month a month after we won the game. So yeah, it's sad to see, but again, like whenever the sort of situation gets resolved, and sort of when the tournament's gonna when it come soon, the buzz will probably still be here, and the people will again reunite the way they should. But yeah, don't want to go too far into politics. At least on here on like a football sort of podcast. So
I know it's hard. Look, we'll overthrow Zorobashvili's regime together.
Yeah.
Fuck 'em.
Once the 10th goal goes in against Portugal,
No. For
hand them
Georgia. For Georgia.
yeah, for Georgia.
The double Kavili's double hat trick is complete.
yeah, fair. Okay.
Me and
Okay.
me and Theon are going to do the sticker book.
Oh yeah, we need to do that.
So if we get any sort of Georgia swaps,
Yeah.
we'll send them your way.
It's not being done by Panini, isn't it? It's
No.
which is weird because they haven't really. I've seen like the images of it, and they've got like all the teams from the playoffs. It's not like just the teams who are in the tournaments. There are teams from the playoffs. Like they're going to be Luxembourg, they're going to be Wales, and who lost out? Who was in the final with Ukraine? Iceland.
Iceland.
Yeah, Iceland. So they're going to be in there. So yeah, but I mean, I'm not sure if I mean, no offense to any of those teams, definitely, but I remember like the ones from Panini, like the World Cup ones primarily, and it was always fun to collect from like random teams like South Africa in 2010. It was Costa Rica from 2014 for me at least. Now we've got like more teams than are represented in the tournament, so yeah, that's a bit weird, I guess.
There's a really weird one as well where Luke Thomas, who's on loan at Borough, has somehow managed to get his way onto this England team. So
yeah.
Don't know why.
I could have decorated my my bedroom with the amount of Rafael Torres I had for Panama.
Yeah.
I had Saliou Ciss for Senegal about 700 times in the last World Cup, in the 2018 World Cup.
I think that's doing the qualified teams a disservice there because I think the blame lies at Tops's door as a money-making scheme to be like, well, we'll include the people that lost in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're trying to capitalize on the market probably, and that's not fun because if I were from those three teams who lost out, I'm not even gonna buy a Euro Panini sticker because like knowing that your team isn't there, that sucks. I think they don't even have the calendar. I'm not sure. So yeah, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird.
They did it so early as well, didn't they? Like, why are they going so early? Why are they going so
early? 2 months before the tournament. So weird.
But as well, it's very funny as well that they're obviously trying to put more teams in it, make more money. And one of the countries they put in is Luxembourg with like 14 people.
Yeah, it's weird. Why isn't Panini doing it?
I think there must have been a dispute or they've just bought them out. I hope they still do the World Cup. I really hope they've got the rights to the World Cup. Because that might be a nail in the coffin for me.
Panini forever. No. It's not none of this top shite.
And you could send off your own the ones that you didn't have as well. It was great.
Yeah.
I think that's the longest anyone's ever talked about football stickers on a podcast. But yeah,
as of yet.
We'll make sure we send some your way. But what a fantastic achievement for Georgia, and I can't wait for the tournament to kick off. And I know me and Fionn will definitely be rooting for you. This has been amazing. We really enjoyed them as Euro previous week. We had to get you on, Luka, as soon as you qualified. Thank you so much.
Penalty at the net.
Thank you for the invite, guys. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. It's like a job for me, to be honest. It's like a seasonally job.
Yeah.
Once every 3 months. It was summer, fall, spring. So maybe next time we're
and we'll be back. We're back in October to talk about the end of the season. So there we go.
Yeah. So I mean, perfect, man.
Yeah, we could do a sort of Georgian season preview maybe for the Georgia.
The season ends. Summer league, James.
It's a summer league. It starts the league already. So yeah.
Come on, James.
We could preview it now for next year.
Could be.
Where can people find you, Luka, on socials?
At Georgia Footy on Twitter, and that's about it for me personally. And anyone who's willing to get to know a bit about football, a bit of politics every now and then, and all sorts of things related to Georgian football, you can find on Georgia Footy. So yeah.
And I would, highly recommend following Luka. Great content from his account. You can follow us at Cultras Pod on Twitter and Instagram. We'll be doing a live stream of opening some packs.
Eventually.
From 2 men who have a combined age of 52. In my spare room in my house. But that'll be fun, and you can join us for that. We'll announce that soon.
Yeah, fair.
And a couple more Euro previews coming. But yeah, at Cultures Pod on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me at JamesAn27, Fionn at Fionn with Taser, and Fionn's band Vulture Authority.
There's a re-release of it before the Euros for the unofficial Georgian anthem. Re-release, redoing the video, redoing it all. We'll be back.
So we go that out, and we'll be back next time with another guest. But as for now, thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.